supposed to come in, and who else? Here's Sally.
Donna asked me to record the meeting. Does anybody object to my recording the meeting? Just let me know.
I don't.
Okay, it's being recorded.
All right. Okay, so I think we can start. So I guess, Mike, because you're recording, we'll have your face up. So
Oh no, actually you're up.
that's fine.
No, you're the one that's actually up, not me.
Okay, but okay, that's fine. So a few things that I need to update you guys on. We're still waiting on the budget. There's a DC meeting this afternoon at 3, so I'm not sure if we'll hear about it then, but I don't think they know yet because I just got the DC agenda and they still have a question mark next to it. Right now we have a 10%. Right now, the way things are budgeted, it's a 10% cut in the lecture budget, which STEM made. But there's a potential for another 15% cut in the lecture budget, which is actually pretty big. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. I guess when we get that, we'll see what's going to happen there.
Sean, do you mean 15% on top of the 10%?
Yeah, so a total of 25%. Okay. Yeah, that's and I'm sorry to call these meetings with just bad news, but it seems like.
So Sean, the 10% cut we've already incorporated into what is being taught for the fall, correct?
Right. So we already have 10% cut already. So it is possible that we may have to incorporate another 15% cut. So that's the latest on that. Now, in terms of the labs, which is the main reason I call this meeting, is because all of you in here teach labs in Ikulea, teach labs in general. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Maryland's been laid off, so we do not have a lab tech.
So we should have Andrea in this meeting, shouldn't we, or no?
I'm not sure if I invited her. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did, but maybe I didn't.
Okay, just something we could send this recording to her maybe or something.
Right, so, I mean, Mike's recording it, so we can have Mike send it out. Is that okay, Mike? All right. So Marilyn's been laid off, and she got laid off at the end of June. So currently we have, hold on, we got one more joining. And I thought okay. So Marilyn was laid off. Her last day was June 30th. And I'm sure you guys may be aware that, well, you guys all know it. We talked about this at the STEM meeting, the importance of having a lab tech, and this is why I wrote up the description, and this is why I went to budget meetings and executive committee meetings and all this stuff to present our case as to why a lab tech is important. And to give credit to admin, they put the lab tech as the #1 priority for a full-time hiring for the campus, because Maryland was always hired on soft money. And soft money is money from like summer school and things like that. And that kept getting depleted. So that is why we went to convert it to a full-time position, which admin approved. Problem is COVID-19 hit, and we all know what happened after that, right? Massive budget cuts, people unemployed. And because of that, what UH did is UH pulled all positions that were not currently held by faculty. All positions that were, we had positions that were on hold or positions that were not filled. And what UH did was they pulled all unfilled positions and took all the positions back. And the procedure now is if you want to hire someone full time, you have to actually put in a request to system to get that position funded. So that's what happened. So the way it works now is everything has to be approved all the way to the top. It's not with Louis, it's not with Erica. It has to go all the way up to David Lasner. That's how tight the budget is. He has to approve everything. Go ahead.
I don't even know if I should say this, but I'm friends with David Lasner, and I actually sent him that saying that he said that it wasn't up to him, that it was up to our people.
Well, what I was told was it's sent up to him, and then he may send it back to maybe Erica at that level. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
I think they're passing the buck a little bit.
Well, you have a little bit more inside information than I do, so I could
that was my understanding. Was but anyway.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated. So the problem is that we have labs that we're teaching in the fall. So there are some live labs, like Sally's got a lab. There's micro labs Michelle and Junie are doing. There's a Biology 171 lab. There are a couple chem labs that Peter doing. Andrea and I are doing a couple grant-funded labs, but those ones, we do our own things. We don't need anyone to help us prep with that. At least I don't. Maybe Andrea does. So this is where we stand right now, is that we don't have a lab tech. And it is possible that we may not have one for the fall. So Maryland had a full-time position. So I made the argument that, admin asked, what's the minimum hours we can get by if we rehire Maryland? So currently in the past, Maryland had a 40-hour job position. And I said, probably minimum would be 28 hours, 28 to 30 hours we can get by with that. And what they plan to is to try and hire Maryland as a casual hire. Okay? Now the thing is that one of the questions, and I have to bring this up at the DC meeting this afternoon, is that can a casual hire have access to a P card, which I don't know. My inclination is it's probably the answer is no. So what that means is that in STEM, currently we have 3 people with P cards. So I will be calling on these 3 individuals to help share the burden of ordering stuff for STEM. And what we're going to try and do is do it to the point where things are organized and we're putting in a bunch of little things. I know in the past I've seen people like, can I order, some screws from Home Depot? No, we're not going to do that. When we order stuff, you need to plan ahead. We're going to order so that way these individuals who are faculty and also APT and so on. That way, when we do this, it's not like all these little mini things coming in. We're going to do orders that are in bulk, so that way it creates less of a burden on individuals that have to try and help us with this issue of ordering things for fall and possibly spring also. Now, it is my hope, and I'm hoping, I'm praying for this, that we get Maryland back at least, 20 to 30 hours a week. Now, if that doesn't happen, admin has asked us if we can be creative. I don't know how creative we can be. They're asking about student assistants. Would it be possible to hire student assistants to help with the lab? Would it be possible for us to take up some of the duties of helping with setting up our labs and things like that? They're even floating around ideas of, giving people 1 credit release time to help get their labs together and things like that. So they want us to be creative about it and think about it. So this is a question I'm putting towards you guys, and you guys can come up with some ideas. We can use this group email as a forum where we can chat about it. We can come back on Zoom and talk about it later. But there's a lot of things that come into running a lab. I mean, there's a lot of issues with hazardous waste. There's things with compliance. There's equipment maintenance. So there's many things involved in there, not just ordering supplies and so on. Prepping the lab, breaking the lab down, disposing of biologicals in the proper way. So
can I interject for a second?
Yeah.
Is Maryland even going to want to come back? They just, I don't know if anybody's aware, but they just
turn up your volume a little bit, Trent. Turn it up a little bit.
My volume?
Speak louder. Speak next to your mic, yeah.
Okay, so they just continue the stimulus plan where they're going to continue the $600 per week.
Yeah.
It would seem that if Maryland gets 20 hours per week, she'll make more money not working.
I know. So, I mean, the thing is, I already spoke to Maryland.
Okay.
And she's willing to come back for 30 hours a week.
Okay.
Right? That's what she's willing to do. Now, will we get that? I have no idea. I mean, I'm hoping that we do.
Sean, yeah, I think I think just as what you were saying, Trent, I'm pretty sure if you're offered a job and you turn it down, though, I don't think then you don't get another one.
Yeah.
But there's also obviously the whole issue of the pandemic and, just the added risk and the added, like you said, not only the normal prep and buying and biohazard, but just the extra cleaning of the labs and even just teaching it without adding us having to do what she normally does is already going to be more than normal teaching. I mean, I guess I would say if we can't get her back for like 30 hours a week, and then I think we could maybe hire at least 1 to 2 student help. I think in some ways we should be thinking about, just canceling any face-to-face labs because it just seems like it's becoming, unless it's something like, what you're doing with Andrea or, some of the Embrace stuff where it's just a couple of students I can deal with. Mm-hmm. But full classes, either they have to give, like for microlab with 3 labs, have, somebody who's hired at that same amount for the 1 lab a week or 2 labs a week it actually is, have them being paid for an additional lab to just do that work because it's a lot of work prepping that lab, especially and then with the additional and the biohazard. I mean, I don't even know if that's enough. So I mean, I realize this is not something we want to do at all, but it may be reality.
Well, the other thing is you were at the meeting when we had the safety inspection last week with Hubert.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did you say lost their lab tech? I mean, I think Leawood still has theirs. They lost one, or they still have one.
Right. Honolulu.
So
Kauai never had one, they said.
Right.
Honolulu never had a lab tech.
Yeah, when you were there, you didn't have one. So, but I don't remember what Hubert said. But
he said Honolulu lost theirs, but I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know.
Maybe that was the one. Yeah, maybe that was lost before, even when you were there, Mike. I mean, the thing is, I know what they were considering was maybe trying to figure out a creative way to pay like a lab tech and maybe try and use lecturer funds. But then, of course, that wouldn't fly. It would be a big issue.
What about foundation money? Is there any?
Well, I know in one STEM foundation account, I mean, I think it's from Dorvin Lays. They gave us $1,000, and I know because of the deductions from the bank account, it's probably now at like $800.
Well, I mean more like asking foundation to put it out there to all their rich donors, like, hey, you guys want to help, fund, so we can keep the labs going at the college for this next semester. I mean, seems like in the light of COVID, teaching microbiology is and a lot of other things are pretty important.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe we can,
ask.
You know what? It never hurts to ask, right? All they can say is no. I mean, that's
right.
It.
I mean, they just put it out there, and there may be people, who are willing to put some funding that way, knowing especially it might be like, yeah, this is something I'd really like to
Right.
help fund, and under these circumstances, this would be something I would do.
Right. Well, the other thing is, that, we may want to consider also is, but then of course this is dependent on the lecture budget not getting cut another 15%, is if we, let's say, I don't know how many classes, for example, Pete has, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Pete has worked as a lab tech before, so he is pretty knowledgeable about other things that goes on. So I know that we can probably swing away to maybe pay him for like, a couple extra classes and maybe have him do 15, 18 hours a week or something as a lab tech.
Yeah, if he will.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, exactly. I mean, Mike would know a little bit better as to how many classes he actually has. But, so I don't know. I mean, but that's all supposing things, right? I don't even know if he's interested in doing that because I know he's involved.
He's got 2 face-to-face chem labs, organic chem lab and organic lecture. So we've got a decent number.
What does he have, 11 TEs or 12?
Let's see here. That would be 7.5.
7.5, and then he has 10.5, right?
Maybe isn't organic? Oh, it's 3. So I guess it would be, that would be 10.5.
Right.
The other thing is, which I know you realize, but I don't know, the admin, I think, they probably realize it, but they probably forget the impact. Is like, if we don't get Marilyn back this fall, and then she ends up, we may end up losing her after that, and then bringing in a new person without the former person to train them.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge. And I know that some of this, you just can't be helped, but it's just another reason to, everything we can try using some grant money, maybe foundation money, and whatever, casual hire, whatever, to try to get her in for this fall, and then hopefully it'll be better by spring. I think, we ought to push for that as much as we can.
Well, and then another thing is, I'm not sure about how that CARES money works, but it's just students and stuff. You figured that would be part of it, right? But
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's something I'll bring up at the meeting this afternoon. But for some reason, I think there was a reason why we couldn't use that. But I'll have to, again, try and maybe bring that point up and see what they say. So I mean, for all of us that do labs, this is the current reality. So I want you guys to think about it. Maybe Elizabeth, you don't need as much help because most of your stuff is you don't deal with live stuff or chemicals as much, but you still teach labs in here. I know Jenny doesn't really use Marilyn that much. Occasionally she has to order something, but
Jenny is here, by the way. She's just on a different meeting too.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So, I hate to just bring bad news. I mean, it's depressing. It's even worse having to deliver it to everyone.
Do you know what the enrollment is currently?
Enrollment, I'm not sure what it is. We'll get an update this afternoon, but after my meeting this afternoon, I'll send the group an email with updates from what I learned. Right? But enrollment, we're down, but I think we're probably in the system-wide, we're doing better than most other campuses. I think we might be second or third in terms of enrollment. Yeah.
I wonder if next semester is going to be better with enrollment because, traditionally.
Fall is normally better, traditionally.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're thinking also is there's actually a lot of students that are still on the fence as to whether or not they're going to go to the mainland. So that's one of the things we discussed, we may pick up some of those students, right? At least for a year, 1 or 2 semesters. So that's
plus high school students, plus the high school students, as they see they're not being much available for them in high school, possibly this fall, that I would think some of those juniors and seniors especially may decide to take, because we have so many online classes.
If you remember back in 2008, I mean, we had a
Yeah.
huge enrollment surge, and that's when the economy was horrible. So,
Right.
generally speaking, when the economy is bad, the enrollment just skyrockets. So,
Traditionally,
Right.
yeah.
But you got to remember back then there was not all this free money flowing. No one was making more money than they did when they were not.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that are making more money now unemployed than they are actually working.
Absolutely.
So that is not helping enrollment. You know, the economic downturn in 2008 with the housing crisis, there's bailouts for the bank, but the little man like us didn't get bailed out. We didn't get all these checks, but today people are getting checks, right? So,
well, you think that if they're unemployed and they're getting checks, and they could, say, oh, well, I need to, perhaps look at a different career and then use
Right.
that money towards school.
yeah.
I think some are. I mean, I actually feel like I've gotten more emails from students starting like a month ago about fall classes than I ever do in the summer. I've never gotten this many. It's like I feel like they're really wanting to know what's going on. They really are, very much wanting to be ready for the class. I think they're a little worried probably about being online, and so they're asking ahead of time for like the syllabus and what's the book they want to start reading, which is, I mean, that part I'm super happy to see.
Yeah.
So, but that's probably keeping a lot of people away too that aren't really very confident about, learning online.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, this is the new norm for now, and based on what I've read and realistically, if even if we get a vaccine in early 2021, it's still going to impact spring 2021 because you still got to have people vaccinated. You still got to try and get that herd immunity going before people really feel safe coming back.
Everybody get their flu vaccine soon.
Well, yeah. The anti-vax movement is very, very, it's bigger than it's ever been. And a scary time like this, it makes it daunting to think about, people.
And thinking about the flat Earth, just.
Yeah. I mean, So anyway, so that's the update on the lab. So, you guys think about it. I mean, send me suggestions. I mean, but until we get the budget, we won't know for sure exactly where we're at. And if we have to take that drastic additional 15% cut, and it won't only be a cut in the lecturer budget, but it'll also be a cut in the supply budget. So materials and supplies, that's also going to be cut. And then also, there's still floating around, the possibility of a pay cut. There's still that floating around. So I know that, I have friends that work in the California systems, and if you're state work in California, we work for UC system, Cal State system, they all took a 10% pay cut. But it's interesting because I know, a good friend of mine is an auditor for the Franchise Tax Board, and they got a 10% pay cut, but they got a 5% pay raise before they got the pay cut. So the reality is they got a 5% pay cut. So they swung it that way, right? So I mean, it's all a lot of uncertainty, and until we actually get the budget, we won't know for sure, And because we just had Hurricane Douglas come through, that probably, that may delay also when they let us know what the budget is. I mean, we dodged a bullet with that one because guaranteed if that hurricane hit and we had damage here, I mean, the cuts would be even much more drastic. So we got to be thankful at least for that we dodged that one. Now, for those of you that are teaching live classes in the fall, there are certain COVID protocols that has to be followed, and I sent you guys a link. And if you guys click on that link, what you'll see is they talk about the protocols. So when students come into campus, and when we come into campus, they have the QR codes on the door. You have to scan it, take a picture of it with your phone, and hopefully everyone has a smartphone. And then what you do is you fill out a survey. Do you have, what's your temperature? Well, I actually have thermometers you can take your temperature with. There's going to be wall-mounted thermometers that scans your face and tells you, So just make sure you cool off a little bit if you're running from the hot sun. It's 95 degrees outside, right?
Noted.
Fill out the survey. Do you have a scratchy throat? Do you have a fever? I mean, do you know anyone that has COVID that's been diagnosed, have been around them? And if you say no, and then you're fine, then you can enter into the building and into the classroom and so on.
So I'm sorry, can I go back to that and ask you, so that's the same protocol for the instructors as well then, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and so this is, forgive my ignorance, this is on the wall. You have to have your cell phone present.
Yeah, that's a cell phone.
You take your temperature.
Yeah.
Make sure you haven't come from the gym right beforehand.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. And this is for all buildings? I'm sorry, this is for all buildings?
All buildings, all buildings, yes. Every single building.
What if students don't have a smartphone or they forgot their phone?
Then they got to go home. They can't come to class.
What if they don't even have one?
Then they should sign up online. I mean, I'm being facetious, but
ask that what they want us to do, because I'm sure it'll come up.
I mean, would it be prudent to put?
I guess we could have a computer in every classroom that they could just go sign on there or something.
I mean, you know what? I personally don't know anyone that doesn't have a smartphone.
Well, there definitely are.
Yeah.
We have some students that have not had smartphones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Peter
Peter
only got one not very long ago.
Yeah, the flipper for the longest
He
time.
had that flip phone forever.
Yeah. I mean,
Would it be prudent to put some of the stuff as a banner comment? Like for students, like don't forget your cell phones or something like that, or is that just worry about admin to figure that out?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, just those are all ideas. We shoot it. We could float them out there and see.
Or we could just take their temperature and then have a paper that they fill out or something. Have that same form, and then you just keep it for that day.
Yeah. Okay. Those are all valid things. I'll bring it up. Yeah.
Or there's after you fill out the form, it says the link for submit another response.
Yeah.
They could have whoever is walking in next to them, like, hey, do you mind typing it in on your phone for me? This is my name, and just hit no. Like it is really fast.
Right. That's true.
But yeah.
And then the other thing is that for example, what they're trying to do is keep one lab class per lab, because facilities will only disinfect and clean the labs one time in the morning. So if you have multiple labs in there, you're responsible as the instructor for making sure that it is clean. So let's say, for example, Michelle teaches microbiology at 8. The lab is already clean for her. So when she is done with the lab, she should have her students, and this is the protocol in micro anyway. They wipe down the lab, they disinfect the work areas, they get rid of their gloves, take off their PPEs, and whatever they got to do, right? So if there are multiple classes in a lab, then it's on the instructor that was in the lab before to make sure that things are disinfected and sanitized. So there will be like alcohol bottles in there with 70% plus alcohol in there. We know that students, they have to wear masks, and I am going to bring up at the DC meeting this afternoon. Hubert, when we got our inspection last week, made it clear that the students can wear their own cloth mask, but they have to wear a mask that not an N95 or a KN95, not something like that, but they have to wear just those regular masks you get when you go into Kaizen. If you see you're sick, they put it on you. But they're ones that are splatterproof like that, but they're ones that can prevent moisture from going through.
It was, moisture resistant, he said. But that was, the way we'll have to clarify with him maybe in writing, because what I understood him to say was that was only if they were working right next to each other.
No, what I understood him saying was that if you're working in a lab, you have to have that moisture, the moisture barrier on it. And I think those are not really expensive or anything. They're not like getting N95s where you're going to pay those are like gold now. It's like $12 for one. So these are the ones I think.
I know they're cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap. But I put in an email to a friend of mine that works at Kaiser just to find out exactly which ones they use. Because he said it's the ones that they use at, like, the hospitals.
Because he said students could even put their name on it, and that we could like hang it in the hood or somewhere, and we hang it in the hood to disinfect with their names on it, and then they could reuse it the next time. And then, but I know he said if they're working right next to each other, then there'd be masks and the shields, and then they could work next to each other that way. I mean, but yeah.
Well, I went to the bookstore and I inquired, and AJ said that they are ordering face shields. And what I think we should do is we can't afford to buy everything for everyone. Is part of their supplies is that they should buy a face shield. Yeah. I mean, it's worth it. I mean, it's like buying a pen or buying batteries for your calculator, right? That's something that's part of the new norm, is what it is.
And I have it's like $180 or something in foundation money that they really want me to spend to close this account. And I asked her if I could buy some face shields with it, and she said yes. I don't really know how many I can get or which ones yet, but I figure I'll just get them, and at least it can be for the faculty. If the students are buying if that happens, if they're buying their own, because they probably can't get even very many for $180.
Right. Well, besides the full face shields, they're the ones that are like glasses. But what they do is, I have one in my car. I should have bought it. But what it does is, when you're wearing a mask, it actually it wraps around. It covers your eyes and your forehead. And what it does is it comes down and it covers all the way up to the mask.
Send me a link for that if you can, Sean, or a picture or something. Because
I have money in my foundation account too. I have probably close to 900. So I mean, that's definitely it's just sitting in there, and every month the bank is taking fees. May as well just spend the darn thing,
Yeah, and we could also get maybe those other kinds of the water resistant.
Those kind of boxes of 50, and they're really not that bad. I think they might be like $35 for a box of 50 or something. So those are all things. So I mean, these are all valid, important things that I'll bring up this afternoon.
What UH Manoa is doing, at least for chemistry, is that they're I mean, the class size is 24 for them, 20 for us, but they're cutting the class size in half, and they're just doing labs like a lab that will be 1 week is going to take 2 weeks. So they're cutting the amount of labs they have in half, and then they're giving online assignments for the other things.
Right. So, that's how we plan to do it. I thought that's what we discussed.
Yeah, with chemistry. Yeah. But I mean, that's another option. I don't know if how practical it is for the other disciplines.
Well, the other ones I know with micro, we cut it back, and the classes are just smaller, but they're doing the full. I think they're doing, probably. I mean, Michelle, you guys doing this all experiments, right? Just cut it back.
I think we are. Yeah. But there's possibility of doing a little bit of hybrid. Yeah. Maybe if we find good online assignments that could substitute to limit exposure.
Yeah. Well, I know that, I keep getting voicemails every time I come in from someone from Labster. They just keep calling me all the time. I mean, some of you may have worked with those Labster people, so,
Yeah, I looked into Labster quite a bit. I like what they have in terms of the virtual labs, but if I'm doing a class that's not fully virtual, I can't necessarily justify the cost to the student. Yeah. Because there's a lot of free virtual labs as well, and different materials, different things we can use.
Okay, so make sure that link that I sent you guys, make sure that you look at it. And there's also links that says if you're an instructor, you should do this. Like there's a little training, and they talk about some safety things. So just make sure you look at those, and you have those completed before you start coming in here. And
when did you send that link out, Sean? When did you send it?
Yeah.
When did you send the link?
Oh, I sent it after I sent the invite, like maybe 10 minutes after. It's in the same thread if you look in there.
I got it.
So 11:37 a.m.
Okay, so that's all I have. Anyone has any questions, anything they want to discuss? before I take up any more of your time.
I guess just let us know after you've gone to that meeting today and then what is being said, and so that we can try to. And then I'd say talk to Andrea too, because she told me that she thought some of her grant money could go for Maryland, because she said she.
Yeah.
Something you want one of us to reach out to foundations on? I mean, I could write to.
Well, yeah, you have a relationship with them already, so if you can, that'd be great.
All right, I'll write to them. It certainly doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask. And maybe, or you could send it, like what we're looking for, like how much approximately do we need to employ her for 30 hours a week, like what's that going to be? So I have kind of a dollar amount too, even just.
Well, it's going to be casual hire, so it's somewhere between 22 and like $25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Does that include overhead?
That does not. Well, the thing is, the good thing about Marilyn is that Marilyn already she retired from a previous job, and her medical is fully paid, which is the most expensive overhead. So we don't have to pay that for her. So that's also a really good thing.
Yeah.
For her, we basically have to pay just dental and vision, which is the cheapest. It's way cheaper than medical, way cheaper. So that's a good thing. That's a plus.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
No.
So when I get to my meeting this afternoon, I'll send you guys an update. Maybe we'll have the budget by then. I'm not sure, but my suspicion is we don't have it yet because I saw a question mark on the agenda. So, but yes, Elizabeth.
I have a question, but it's not about IKEA, it's about Ka'aike.
Yes.
So do you know, they're just going to start working in the building? Do you know when they plan to finish it? They say mid-January. Could it be longer than that? How likely is it that it's going to take longer?
So I've been in this state 21 years, okay? And I've never seen anything get done on time or sooner. So let's put it that way.
Yeah, roger that.
So I'll just let you, So the reality is that it's probably highly likely that you guys will not be in Ka'aike in the spring.
In the spring, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Elizabeth.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
This is Kim.
Yeah, Kim would know because her husband works there.
I have the schedule of dates for first floor, second floor, and we have some ideas for you guys for potential offices if you need them. And we've been looking at, Sean and I have been looking at this already. So maybe we'll start a separate email thread with the people that have offices in Ka'aike and who teach there as well.
Well, I know the question is probably if let's say the stars align and we get a vaccine in December and we can come back and do live, if we'll actually have those labs in Ka'aike, and the answer is probably no, right, Ken?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, answer is probably no. So I don't know. But again, in terms of January, like they said, don't hold your breath.
Yeah, because the schedule I have says September 18th through March 2021.
Oh, okay. Yeah, forget it. Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have a schedule. The one I have was ending in mid-January.
So
no lab.
I'll get an update on that.
Okay.
This afternoon.
What are they doing to the building?
AC.
Oh.
Yeah, so Skybridge and cable are all moving.
Yeah. You got it, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Okay. Anything else, guys?
Hey,
Nope.
Sean, when are the class cuts happening
Our class cuts is going to happen again today.
today?
Okay. So last week they slated to cut classes with 5 or less, but I got a hiatus on STEM classes to give us a little bit more time. So I'm gonna go back today. I'll maybe beg a little bit more. Maybe they'll give us more time. But the reality is that they're not gonna let low enroll classes go for lecturers in particular, especially for full-time faculty. If there are lecturers teaching classes you can teach, then it's possible they may cut your classes if you don't have enough enrollment. You may want to send me justification. For example, you're teaching a course and we have 5 people graduating, there's going to be 4 or whatever, and we can't cancel it. So if your classes are low enroll, you have to send some kind of justification as to why it should have to cancel. Whether it's a capstone course, whether it is a course needed for graduation, or some kind of justification.
And you need
You want that list emailed to them directly? I can create a list real quick.
Okay. So you guys can see, and the thing is, especially people with programs, they're doing things like, and I send this in an email, like informational videos. They're putting stuff on social media. So if you have a program that's low enrolled, you need more students. As a coordinator of an area, you can actually make videos and so on. I can put you guys in touch with the deans, or you can contact the deans, and you can actually make promotional videos or stuff for Instagram or whatever it is that kids are on today, and then you guys can reach them in that way. So I know they're going to have like virtual open houses and things like that. So if you want to volunteer for that, so you can have students come to your virtual session, that we can encourage students to enroll. So these are all ideas floating around, because if we have robust enrollment, then it decreases the chances, or decreases the cuts that we will get, right? Because you got more FTEs, you get a little bit more money coming in. That also helps with the budgetary crisis. Anyone else has anything you want to add? And the thing is I don't know if you guys saw that the quarantine from the mainland was extended by the governor to end of August, and they may extend it even further. That also impacts the budget, because it means less people that bring money into the state will come in, right? The state economy relies on tourism dollars. I think it's like 23 or 24% of our state budget comes from tourism, whether it's people going to restaurants, whether it's the hotels, whether it's the tours, the airfare. So it is a big portion. It is a big portion. So
I would have thought it would more than that.
Yeah, I thought it was more, but when I read, it said it was 21%. And another article I read said 23%.
I'm not sure if we'll have very many students coming to campus that might be from the mainland, but I saw UH Manoa's rules and regulations for students not doing a full quarantine. They're allowed to go to classes, and they have all this extra monitoring and stuff. Do you think our campus will need to come out with something like that, or not much of a concern?
Well, I think it's going to be an overall statement that's going to come out for the entire UH system. So I know that's one of the topics for the DC meeting this afternoon. So I don't know if it probably may be something that is a blanket statement for the entire UH system. But I know Manoa has a lot more F1 students, foreign students, as well as students from out of state than we do. But because out-of-state students and F1 or foreign students, they pay 3 times, sometimes 4 times the tuition. It's actually a pretty revenue-generating endeavor. So I know that when the current administration in Washington, D.C. decided that they were going to pretty much block foreign students from coming in, Harvard and all these big institutions filed a lawsuit right now to backtrack on, right? Because that's actually for many schools, that's a big source of income. So I'm not exactly sure how many F1 students we have or how many out-of-state students we have, but I know Manoa has a substantial amount, especially in the grad programs and so on.
Okay, can I ask everybody that's on the meeting, because I've been here, I didn't go anyplace. If any of you traveled out of state, please.
Not me. That's not me.
I'm currently in Maryland.
Yeah, I was about to ask the same question. Yeah. Today is my 14th day, gonna be completed. So my question to Kim and Shan is, from tomorrow, I think I'm allowed to come or visit the campus.
Yeah, so you came back from the scariest place on the planet, Florida.
Yeah, but the area I was living was okay. That was a Leon County in Tallahassee, the capital city of Florida. But Miami and those places were really bad. But Tallahassee was good, and that was the Leon County. And
you didn't go sunbathing on South Beach, right?
No.
Okay.
We're not partying out there with all of us.
Yeah.
Can you say Tallahassee for me one more time, please?
Tallahassee. Tallassee. It's very difficult. Thank you so much.
Hey, Booty.
It was yes, please.
So when you come in tomorrow, I'm here from 8 o'clock. Stop by my office. Please wear a mask, and I will show you how to do the QR code.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, but I think as San explained in this document also, I need to do something on the gate, right? On the door.
Yeah, there's a QR code. You scan it with your phone. Take a picture of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help you for the first time.
Yeah. Because I gotta learn something there with the new system. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Sean, should I contact the student that was working when the pandemic kicked in, and he said he wanted to work again? If he can, should I contact him and see if he wants to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some help is better than no help, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we hear from everybody, because I know Booty and I know Trent and I know Sean has been here the whole time. Everybody else?
I'm in Maryland right now.
I barely left Lahaina.
You went to Molokini.
Oh yeah, that's right. But it was on our own boat.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, pushing the point again. So, Mike, what did you say?
I'm in Maryland.
Okay.
I know Tibbet.
So,
Tibbet went to Virginia. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, John from Seattle.
Yeah, so John's in Seattle. Okay, so when you guys come back, you're gonna have to quarantine before you can come to campus. Just keep that in mind. Well, before you go in to be safe.
Yeah, I'm not quarantined now.
Oh, yeah, but I think from August 1, the governor.
Not August 1. Now it's September 1. They changed it.
Yeah.
The governor changed it.
If you produce the certificate of the negative,
doesn't matter.
Then, that doesn't matter. Oh my God, yeah.
And they might make it Victorino asked for Inter-Island to also go back to 14-day quarantine.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard the governor's answer on it yet, but
well, the thing is with that is, what's the population of Oahu? 1.3
million something.
1.3 million population of Oahu. 1.5 million. Oahu has 10 times what we have, but they have 10 times the population. So.
Yeah.
But it has been going on.
The mayor's logic doesn't make sense.
Yeah, 150,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Here.
So, but anyway, it's if that's reinstated, then we got to deal with that. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of them had come through Oahu. I think that came here that when they've done contact tracing back, so that's why. But they could tighten that up. I mean, the contact tracing is not very good. My daughter got here in June, and she did 2-week quarantine. She said she got one text message saying, "Are you quarantining?" And she said yes. And they said, "Okay." So like they're not really, I think unless somebody reports somebody, they're not really checking it very well.
Well, I think what people are doing is they're going on social media, and then that's how a lot of people are getting caught, right? They take pictures of like at Zippies or pictures of like, you got caught.
Yeah, but they should check it better, I think.
Yeah, but anyway. I mean, the thing is if we do what we're supposed to do, we're gonna get the numbers back down again. But I see people.
Right.
They're putting masks and they're not covering their noses. I mean, seriously, it's just on their mouth. It's their nose is exposed. I mean, it's just little things like that. Anything else, guys?
No.
I'll keep you guys posted after the meeting to let you guys know I'll give you guys a little bit more, what I have learned about the budget, and then, I'll discuss some of the things that that we brought up here at the meeting this afternoon. I'll get back to you guys.
All right.
Okay. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully next time we talk, I have some kind of good news. Right.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Sean.